Right folks, you may ask yourself what I am doing with all of this like this. Short story, took it on a test drive after doing the gearbox flush and putting it all back together. Turns out the gearbox was doing a bit of a hissy fit. Every time you go from reverse to neutral, drive to neutral, it would basically make a buzzing sound. Throw up a code, the transmission warning light, which is above the engine management one that's on there, but I couldn't read a code, and it would go off when you put it into drive, but the gearbox would sort of go into fail-safe mode when it threw up the code. You could hear it buzzing away and it wasn't very happy, but I thought it was electronic. For some reason I thought that there wasn't enough fluid in. Turns out there was more than enough. There is an issue that I've actually found, and it's something you should be aware of, and it's this sensor at the front which I spoke about before. I am going to show you this now so that you are aware not to get caught out. Oh, God, come on. Right, nice new pan, nice new bolts. Right, this sensor, get the light on. Okay, and it's not in drive at the moment. Can I just push it? There we go. That line has to line up directly with that. Oh, come on. Right, has to line up. It was when I put it back on, but what has happened is I didn't tighten these two bolts up, and this sensor moved a little bit. Now the reason I knew there was a problem with this, and this was what was causing my issue, was it wouldn't start in neutral. It will only start in park. Now I thought there was no problem with the way I'd set this up, because the reverse lights come and it goes into each gear. It runs absolutely fine, but every time you go into neutral it throws a hissy fit electronically, and I thought it's got to be this. I've adjusted it wrong. Now what I've done is I've twisted this cable anti-clockwise. See these two arrows up there? Twist it that way to unlock. I've prized off the selector lever in the car, as you can see, so that's why the console's up, to just adjust the selector where it should be, and it was absolutely fine. But what I discovered is these two bolts had shifted, and I just moved the sensor that way, tightened them down again, and now it starts in neutral. It will crank in neutral. So the giveaway sign is, if you're having problems like that, make sure that that line mark lines up perfectly. It was just slightly off before, but I thought it was absolutely fine. Turns out the sensor just wasn't sitting quite right on the casing, and what was happening is whenever I was putting it in neutral, the gearbox, the ECU, was getting signals from the sensor saying, I'm not quite sure whether it's neutral or reverse, and the gearbox did a oh no, what's going on, and done a hissy fit and went into failsafe. They're very basic gearbox controllers, and they can have hissy fits when things are not quite linking up. So top tip, make sure that is straight on. It's all done there. 5.5 litres have gone into this gearbox. I tested it all through the range, as I said before, and holding in each gear for 10 seconds, check the dipstick, and it is almost up to the maximum mark. Fantastic. At temperature 5.3, that is 75% of the fluid in this gearbox. So only 1.5 litres was stuck in the torque converter. It did make a bit of a mess actually, it dripped a lot. It is a greasy job sorting it out, but it's all done, and hopefully now it won't have hissy fits. In fact, you can see once we get it off the jack. Lovely.